This is the incredible Moors Speed Racing Indian Scout Bobber. This thing is unbelievable, and they've made quite a few different custom builds. This one happens to be the owner's actual bike, so he's very kindly lent me this bike for a couple of weeks to see what I think of it, and oh my god, I can't wait to tell you my thoughts. He also delivered me an Indian Scout Rogue, which is obviously not a custom one, so it only had an exhaust done to it, which sounded fantastic. Nothing compared to this, and I'll go into that in a minute. But because this one has the fatter front wheel, I feel like the front end is much more sturdy on this bike, and I would expect that would be the same with the normal Scout Bobber. Because of the thinner wheel on the front of the Scout Rogue, the front end felt really light, which can be a little bit twitchy at times, but this is not at all. This is a very stable bike, and I want to touch upon the thoughts and impressions that Indians give, because they're very similar bikes to Harley-Davidsons, and they're a sort of, you know, American bike with a V-twin. They make an incredible noise, but I don't think Indians have that stigma around them that Harleys seem to have nowadays, and I don't know where that's come from. It's probably rooted in from years, but that doesn't seem to be the case with Indians, and I've never experienced a bike like this that turns heads so much and creates so much positive reactions. The reactions are amazing. Every time you go down the high street, you'll have little kids waving at you. You've got blokes turning their heads and smiling and waving at you as well, and they just are in awe of this bike. And when you stop off somewhere, perhaps just to go to the supermarket, people stop and say, "Oh my god, your bike is incredible." And not only with this one, even with the standard Indian Scout Rogue, it got similar reactions. Not quite as many, because this is very extreme, but the reactions you get from this bike are like no other.
Christ! This is out of this world. I've never ridden anything that makes you laugh and smile so much. Just listening to that every time you blip the throttle. Bloody hell.
Today is the first time I've properly ridden this bike, because this particular one doesn't have any mud guards. He's taken them off and it looks incredible. I know we're always going on about how mud guards should be bigger, but obviously this is a custom build and it's designed to be extreme, and it's not designed to be ridden every day. So it's very much a dry weather bike, and he advised me don't take it out in the wet because you will get soaked. So I haven't done. But it's been in the garage for about a week, and I took it out, started it up this morning, and I just had a text from my girlfriend to say, effing hell, the whole house is shaking. So this thing literally shakes the house down, and the exhaust that's on this, it's a Akrapovic exhaust. I don't know exactly what one it is, and it's sort of wrapped at the front there, so you've got to be careful that you don't get your jeans melted on the side of the exhaust, but the back pressure this exhaust creates is unbelievable. You can stand sort of 4 meters behind it and you can feel the exhaust pressure pushing its way at you, which is unbelievable, and obviously that was shaking the house. And when I first looked at this exhaust, I didn't expect it to be as loud as it is, but oh my God, I think this is the loudest bike I've ever heard. Not perhaps on Tickover, because from my experience, the sort of really straight through exhausts, which don't have much back pressure, are really loud on tick over, but once you get going, they don't really get any louder. Whereas this, once it's up in the revs, my God, it is loud, and it's a very nice tone as well. So it's not just loud for the sake of being loud. It is a very beautiful sounding exhaust. So probably the best bike I've ever heard, to be honest. It sounds unbelievable. And the beauty of this engine is that though it's a modern V-twin and it has modern technology, which is fantastic, it still retains the character and soul of a V-twin that you would expect from this kind of bike. And they've just done it perfectly, because you get best of both worlds with performance and enjoyability, character and soul, which is the best thing ever. And with some of these other new modern V-twins, perhaps like the Harley-Davidson Revolution Max engines, they have zero character whatsoever and they don't make a fantastic noise. But this still has that lovely low-p sound on tick over, which you expect from an Indian, and it also revs out and gives you plenty of power, and it really does go. So if you want a bike that not only sounds good, looks good, and blimmin' goes as well, then these are absolutely brilliant. I'm really starting to develop a soft spot for these Indians, and I've always admired them, but because we haven't had them on the channel or really had many experiences with them at all, we'd only ever ridden two before these two, and I personally hadn't ridden one because at the time I didn't have a license. I wasn't old enough. So now that I've ridden one and had some experience with them, my God, they really are making an impact on me. And as I said recently in one of my videos, that I'm perhaps considering selling my bike. I'm not for sure, it's just a thought at the moment. Maybe an Indian would be the way to go, because they are definitely right up my street and they certainly play with your emotions, and wow, what a bike to ride. It really is incredible. So I'm really looking forward to trying out some of the other models, especially the Chief, the Sport Chief and the Chief Bobber. Those are right up my street, and the amount of torque they produce, 162 Newton meters at 2,900 RPM. So those things are torque monsters, and I really want to try one of those out. So let us know in the comments below if you want to see a review of one of those. As I touched upon earlier, this bike is anything but standard. Most of the parts have been changed on this bike. You've got these massive wide handlebars which give you a really nice riding position right out wide. You've got upgraded Brembo brakes which are fantastic, really good stopping power. Avon Cobra tyres front and rear, which are really nice and sticky, but on the rear they have changed it to a 240mm wide tyre. So that's as wide as the Harley-Davidson Breakout or the Fat Boy, and my God, it gives this bike stance. If you look at it from the back, it is unbelievable, it really is. And with the mudguard taken off, it just leaves the wheel to do the talking, and my God, it looks incredible. one of the standout features of this bike, which you've probably noticed if you've got a keen eye, is this suicide shifter. I know I've never ridden a bike with a suicide shifter or even seen one before, and it's an incredible experience. But this one is best of both worlds because it allows you to change with your hand if you feel like it, but you can also still change with your left foot as usual. So it's not like your traditional suicide shifter with the clutch lever on the handle, and it would usually be on the left hand side. It is best of both worlds because you can do both. So really cool, and it just really looks good. So if you're showing up at a bike meet or a bike show and you've got the suicide shifter, it looks pretty cool. So that's the main reason for that. The dial on this, I think this is the standard dial actually, but I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments below. It's beautiful. I love the colours in there, very retro looking and really cool. So I love that, and we love analog dials, as you know. This brown seat is gorgeous, really nice. You've got Öhlins shocks on the rear, so it soaks up the bumps nicely, and they look really cool as well. And it's got that sort of old school classic number plate, so technically not really allowed those, but they look cool, don't they? And you've also got no indicators, so you have to stick your arms out to tell people where you're going. So it's really old school. Now, a lot of people expect a bike with a rear wheel or rear tyre as wide as this to not handle very well, but it's all subjective, isn't it, as to how you like a bike to handle. I think this handles fantastically, and it's not a bike that you're going to lean down in the corners, and you would never expect it to be, but it's very sure about itself. It's very stable in a straight line and at motorway speeds, but also it is very stable in the corners, so there's no twitchiness at all. It's very sure about itself, and it's obviously not a bike you're going to get your knee down on, but it certainly does handle well. Now let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this bike. I think it is outstanding. It's one of the most exciting bikes I've ever ridden, and this is the sort of thing that excites me. Bikes with character, with amazing styling, amazing sound, and that create emotion like no other, and this really is one of those bikes. So this is right up my street, and I'm starting to fall in love with the Indian brand, and I keep finding myself looking at their website when I'm in bed at night, so I keep looking through all the models, so they're definitely doing something in my brain. But make sure you check out my review of the Indian Scout Rogue. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check that out, and hopefully we'll have more reviews of Indian motorcycles coming up, so make sure you subscribe and leave a like on the video if that's something you're interested in. But also we do all kinds of other bikes on the channel, and we're hoping to get more and more brands on board for 2024.
So loud. Christ. Blimey. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. Unbelievable. I've got a bit of a ratchet setup, so hopefully my camera doesn't fall off.